In a small mountain town in southern France, a sickly 14-year-old girl walked toward a dark cave and changed the spiritual history of the modern world. Her name was Bernadette Soubirous. It was the winter of 1858 in Lourdes, a poor town nestled at the foot of the Pyrenees. France was restless, modernity was rising, and faith was quietly fading in many hearts. But in a crumbling, overcrowded mill near the Gave River, a family struggled simply to survive. Bernadette was born on January 7, 1844, the eldest child of François and Louise Soubirous. Her father had once owned a mill, but economic collapse and misfortune reduced the family to deep poverty. They lived for a time in a former jail cell known as the cachot, cold, damp, and barely fit for habitation. Bernadette was frail from childhood. She suffered from asthma, frequent illness, and malnutrition. She could not keep up in school and struggled to memorize even simple catechism answers. At 14, she had not yet made her first communion because she could not pass the required examinations. To many, she seemed unremarkable, illiterate, slow, fragile. But heaven was preparing something extraordinary. On February 11, 1858, Bernadette went with her sister and a friend to gather firewood near the grotto of Massabielle. As the other girls crossed the icy stream, Bernadette lagged behind, removing her stockings carefully so as not to worsen her asthma. Then she heard a sound, like a gust of wind. But the trees did not move. She looked toward the grotto, and there, in a hollow niche above the rock, she saw a lady clothed in white, with a blue sash at her waist, a rosary hanging from her arm, and golden roses upon her feet. The lady smiled. Bernadette would later say she felt no fear, only peace. The lady made the sign of the cross. Bernadette instinctively took out her rosary and began to pray. The world would never be the same. And yet, in that first moment, it was only a poor girl and a silent vision beneath a cold stone cliff. The lady did not speak that day, but she would return. Bernadette returned to the grotto 3 days later, and then again, and again. In total, there would be 18 apparitions. Word began to spread quickly through Lourdes. Some came out of curiosity, others out of devotion, still others to mock. Each time, Bernadette would kneel on the damp earth, gaze into the hollow rock, and pray the rosary with the lady. Witnesses saw her face transformed, radiant, absorbed, utterly detached from the crowd around her. But not everyone believed. The local authorities were suspicious. The police commissioner interrogated her repeatedly, attempting to trap her in contradictions. Doctors examined her during the ecstasies, testing her reactions to pain and flame. They found no hysteria, no deception. Yet pressure mounted. Her own family suffered threats. The town officials demanded she stop going to the grotto. But Bernadette remained calm. "I cannot promise you that I will make you happy in this world," the lady told her during one of the apparitions, "but in the next." Then came a shocking command. On February 25th, the lady instructed Bernadette to drink from a spring and wash in it. But there was no spring. Confused, Bernadette dug into the muddy ground at the back of the grotto. At first, only dirty water appeared. The crowd laughed. Some called her mad. She drank the muddy water. She smeared the dirt upon her face. It seemed humiliating, absurd. But by the next day, the small muddy trickle had become a clear spring, and soon miracles would begin. The healing started quietly. A blind eye restored, a paralyzed limb strengthened, chronic illnesses vanishing after contact with the water from the grotto. The church moved cautiously, as it always does. Medical investigations were conducted, testimonies were recorded. Skeptics scrutinized every claim. Meanwhile, Bernadette remained exactly the same. She did not seek attention. She did not embellish her story. She never altered a detail under questioning. When asked to describe the lady, she simply called her Aquero, that one, in her local dialect. Then, on March 25th, the feast of the Annunciation, Bernadette asked the lady her name. The answer would echo through Catholic history. I am the Immaculate Conception. 4 years earlier, in 1854, the Church had formally defined the dogma of the Immaculate Conception, that Mary had been conceived without original sin. Bernadette, who could barely memorize catechism, did not understand the theological phrase. She repeated it over and over on her way home so she would not forget it. When she told the parish priest, he was stunned. How could this uneducated girl invent such a title? Slowly, cautiously, belief began to grow. In 1862, after thorough investigation, the local bishop declared the apparitions worthy of belief. Lourdes would become one of the most visited pilgrimage sites in the world. But Bernadette would not remain there. At 22, Bernadette left Lourdes forever. She entered the convent of the Sisters of Charity in Nevers. Many expected her to be treated as a celebrity visionary. Instead, she was assigned to the infirmary and the laundry, hidden, ordinary, forgotten. She preferred it that way. I was a broom, she once said. Our Lady used me. When she was finished, she put me back in my corner. Her health deteriorated steadily. Tuberculosis of the bone brought intense suffering. She endured chronic pain, fever, and physical weakness for years. Yet she never complained. When asked about the apparitions, she refused to elaborate beyond what she had already said. The lady did not tell me to make you believe, she explained. She told me to tell you. Her mission was simple obedience. On April 16, 1879, at the age of 35, Bernadette lay dying. Holding a crucifix, she whispered, "Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for me, a poor sinner." And she surrendered her soul. After her death, something remarkable occurred. When her body was exhumed years later, it was found remarkably preserved. Today, her incorrupt body rests in Nevers, a silent testimony to a life hidden in humility. But the true miracle of Bernadette Soubirous was never the physical spring. It was her simplicity. In an age of skepticism, she did not argue. In the face of ridicule, she did not defend herself. In suffering, she did not despair. She simply obeyed. Lourdes continues to draw millions seeking healing of body and soul. Some leave physically cured. Many leave spiritually transformed. Bernadette once said, "My job was to inform. It is not my job to convince." Holiness does not require brilliance. It does not require strength. It does not require influence. It requires fidelity. In a damp grotto beneath a cold cliff, heaven chose poverty, weakness, and obscurity, and through them, grace flowed like a spring that has never ceased.